Let's start out smoking some pot. All right, it works so far. In a cloud of dust. Couldn't see the target. Let's see if it's gong worthy, or if I'm gong worthy with it. All right, through the dust. Okay, generally speaking, new firearms will work, and it's rare that I've ever picked up a Glock, new one or otherwise, that did not work. So the Glock 47, a few of you asked about it, wanted to get our opinions on it, and it's been out, and there have been a lot of opinions about it, pro and con. A lot of folks wonder, what in the world is Glock doing? You know, they just sort of reissued the Glock 17, it looks like, right? Yeah, sort of what it is, isn't it? And you know, we needed another Glock 17, but it's a Gen 5, okay? Well, what's the difference between a Gen 5 Glock 17 and this Glock 47? Not a lot. This was basically the firearm that was made for the Customs and Border Patrol, okay? I don't know what model they called that one or whatever, but this is basically the firearm for them that the Glock made, okay? And in that sense, it makes a little more sense. And I'll explain why. A lot of people have really trashed the gun, of course, and the reason for it and all that, or no reason for it, you know, and not a lot. But I can see if you don't have any, say you don't have a Glock, and I know there's some poor souls out there like that, and there's some happy souls out there like that because they hate Glocks and wouldn't want one in the house. But say you're just getting into firearms and you just, for whatever reason, you were at range, shot somebody's Glock, and you fell in love with them, and you made all the Glock haters sick, right? And you decided, oh man, I love those things. I need a Glock 19 and a 17 at least, and I'll go from there. Maybe a 45, Glock 45, and maybe a Glock 19X or whatever. You just really like 9mm, and you really like Glocks, you've learned. And you don't have any yet. Or maybe you got some random Glock. Well, for that person, for you, this might make more sense. And the reason is you have that modularity, and that's what apparently the Border Patrol wanted, and lots of agencies like that, because a lot of agencies will adopt, as you might have noticed, whether it's a Secret Service or anybody, Navy SEALs, you name it, if they adopt the Glock, they'll adopt the Glock 17 and then maybe the 19 for some agents, you know, some purposes. Maybe people who are maybe in our office more most of the time, they don't want as big a firearm or something. They might even adopt and approve the 17, the 19, and the 26 for non-Glock people. That's a small, really small one, baby Glock, compact, and then the larger one. So depending on what somebody's doing, someone's rarely in the field, maybe the Glock 26 because they're supposed to be armed or whatever, small one. Okay, well, if you're an agency and you're making that adoption all, you know, at one time, which is most likely, I guess, then maybe you do value the modularity. And here's what I mean by that fancy word. This slide you can take off, and you could put a Glock 19 slide on it. Here's a Gen 5 Glock 19, okay? I can actually, you know, put that slide on here, and guess what that turns it into? You people who know Glocks well, you know what that is, even though it doesn't say it on the slide. That is a Glock 45, isn't it, basically? Now forget caliber, we're talking all 9mm for new people. The Glock 45 is a 9mm that has the long grip and then the mid-size slide, okay? And so it enables you to do that. And you end up with something like the Glock 45 or the 19X. If you have a 19X, you can put that slide on here, on this big frame, right? What else? Well, Glock 7, so at least 3 slides you can put on there. Glock 17, well, this is the 47, but the same as a Gen 5 Glock 17 slide, 19X, Glock 19, they'll all fit. Now, some of you are thinking, well, no kidding, you know, why wouldn't they? Hasn't that always been the case? Well, it really has not, you know, and I had, I guess I was aware of that, but I just hadn't thought about it that much. I've got some 4th generation guns out here, and see, you cannot do that with a 4th generation gun. And I guess 3rd and 2nd or any of them, I suppose. The locking block on the Glock 17 is different from the 19. It's not just a shorter firearm, okay, or a shorter slide. It's a different locking block, and you can look in there and you can tell, okay? So I cannot take the 17 slide off and then put the 19 slide on the earlier generations, all right? Now, if I'm misspeaking, let me know. I actually tried that to verify myself. I don't know if there's any generations where that wasn't the case, but I don't think you could with any of them. Okay, so if we adopted the Glock, you know, a few years back, and I'm an agency and I want to have you know, have all sizes, you know, agents, office personnel, whoever, can you know, choose which one they want, or we tell them, it doesn't matter. They were not as compatible, not as modular. Maybe that's not all that essential, but one of the cool things about that would be, if you're the armorer for that agency, think about it, all these use the same, same components for the most part, like the recoil spring is the same, you know, and parts, they use locking blocks and all that kind of thing. So parts break and replacing things, worn out parts, whatever it might be, it's really like one gun. You know, essentially, and you're just replacing parts. You need to replace a locking block. That's this piece right here. I actually broke one of those after many thousands of rounds in a Glock 23 once. It's the same locking block and, you know, that same recoil spring. Like this is the 47 and the 19. They have the same recoil spring exactly and that sort of thing. So with the 47, they just changed the slide and everything to where it will accommodate the same spring and all that sort of thing. Okay, so I don't know if you see a lot of value in that or if anybody does, but I see some value, even for an individual. If, again, you had not been into Glocks, and, you know, there'd be some advantage to getting the 47 and then having the 19. And now if you got down to a 26, I don't think a 26 would work. One of the things is the dust cover, see, is shorter on the, this is the 47, right? Yeah, this is, the dust cover is not as long, you see, as it is on the old Glock, or the Glock 17, okay? So that allows, so it's basically a Glock, it is, I think, a Glock 45 frame, sort of amounts to, okay? So hopefully I didn't confuse you too much on that.